Hello, everyone, and I hope you are well. My name is Tanner Dajne, and I'm the host of Self-Sabotage Solutions. On this podcast, it's my opportunity and my pleasure to be able to share everything I know about self-sabotage, why it happens, why it occurs, and how we can overcome it. And today, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about something very specific with self-sabotage, which is short-term thinking, and how short-term thinking leads us to self-sabotage, and how often, that need for instant gratification can be what leads us to self sabotage because so many of us don't fail to think long term, and there's two different parts of our mind, and one part of our mind usually thinks short term, and the other part of it can think long term. So, what we'll be talking about is how that short term thinking affects us, why it comes up, and also to be talking about how we can start making moves towards long-term thinking because that is so important if we want to be able to overcome self-sabotage. So, short-term thinking, what am I talking about? I think most people know what I'm talking about with short-term thinking. Short-term thinking, is thinking about like the instant gratification, wanting, to feel good in the moment, but avoiding and not paying attention to what it's going to set us up for in the long term. So, an example of this is eating, fast food or junk food or candy, right? In the moment, we want to be able to feel good. We want to be able to have that dopamine fix. We want to be able to get all that delicious flavor, right? But in the long term, this is setting us up to have less nutrients in our body, to be low energy, to be, not feeling as good as we would have been if we would have been providing our body with the proper nutrition. And that's really what the essence of short-term thinking is, and it comes in many different ways, not just with food. It could be with, um, you know, working out, or it could be with getting enough sleep in the night, or, all these different things. There's many versions and many ways that people fail to think long term. So, what we need to do and what you need to do is start to address that. Focus on what action you're taking. Think about it as short term, how is this going to affect me? Long term, how is this going to affect me? Is this going to be leading me towards the life that I want? Is this going to be bringing me towards, something I can be proud of? Because that's what we need to be doing. We need to set ourselves up for that long term success, essentially. And when we're failing to do that, that's what leads us into self-sabotage. That's most self-sabotaging actions are short have to do with short-term thinking. And I want to talk a little bit about, what part of these minds, short-term and long-term, comes from, because I think that's important. There's two different parts of our minds. There is the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. The subconscious mind, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it, is kind of like a record player. It's the most primal part of our mind. And this is the part of our mind that's more in charge of the short term thinking. It's in the, what do I need to do now? What do I need to do now to fit in? What's the best option for me right now to stay alive? Where your conscious mind holds more of your dreams, more of your goals, more of that sort of thing, the thing that you can think about long term, like what do I want to be, and like who do I want to be in my life? Where do I want to end up? Do I want to be living here or here? Do I want to be working a 9 to 5 job my whole life? Do I want to be eating this unhealthy food the whole life and then end up in the hospital, sick and with a lot of medical bills? Do I want to, you know, party all night and then pay the consequences tomorrow? These are the kind of long-term thinking. And also, not only that, but our conscious mind allows us to analyze these situations, and we're one of the only, mammals in the world who have this conscious ability, and we need to use it. And so many of us are failing to use it, and I think that is self-sabotage in itself. And many people, I think, or not even many people, our society is kind of set up in a way that being self-conscious or being aware of yourself is almost a bad thing. Like, we have this phrase, I'm feeling self-conscious, when we're feeling bad about ourselves. But feeling self-conscious or being self-conscious or conscious of yourself is not a bad thing. The bad thing was you having that negative thought, right? But being conscious of yourself is extremely, extremely important. It is fundamentally important to be able to be aware of what you are doing, be aware of your actions, because only if when we are aware of what we're doing and how our actions are leading us into the life we don't want are we able to make changes to it. Because if we're not aware of it, if we're just like la di da di da and not paying attention, then we'll be going down the path we don't want. And what happens if we don't even know where we want to go? We're not conscious of our destination. We're not aware of our destination. If you don't know where you want to go, then any road's going to get you there, and you never know where you might end up because you're not tailoring your actions. You're not um, planning your goals. You're not planning your path forward towards the life you want. Instead, you're just taking random actions. And so, how can you expect to be able to become wealthy or happy or any of these things if you're not actually tailoring your actions towards them? And that's what long term thinking is important. That's why long term thinking is the crux of being able to make the life you want and to be able to overcome self sabotage. So we need to talk a little bit about, long term thinking, short term thinking. Um, Now that you know about these different parts of your mind, the subconscious and the conscious, you know, think about it in this way next time you are going to be taking an action to maybe eat healthier or to work out or to do any of these things. You know, am I going to be, if I choose not to work out today, how am I going to feel tomorrow? If I choose not to work out today, what's my life like going to be like in the future? If I choose not to eat healthy, how am I setting myself up for success or for failure? Or, one that's very common today's day and age is with like Netflix or, just spending all your time doing things that's not going to bring you forward in life. So, for instance, you work a 9 to 5 job that you just totally dislike, right? And this is so common for so many people. So many people are stuck in jobs that they don't want to be in, that they can't envision themselves being in their whole life, that they desperately hope that they won't be in their whole life, right? But they spend their day, the 9 to 5, and then they get home and they feel exhausted. And so they just go and they watch TV all day, or they watch, they go out and eat the fast food and then go home and watch TV all day, or go out drinking or go out and play video games, right? But that's not bringing them towards the life they want. They know they don't want this life anymore, right? But they're not taking actions that are going to bring them away from it. They're taking actions that are going to keep them where they are, because these actions don't do anything actively for us. They don't move us into any direction. These kind of actions are just kind of short-term pleasure seeking actions, right? We're we're seeking that instant gratification because we are feeling tired or we worked all day. We just want to be able to relax, right? We just want to be able to have that alcohol, the Coke and whiskey. We just want to be able to have that smoke of of the joint, and so we can relax and hang out and feel good about ourselves. But in the long term, if we keep taking these actions, we're not going to get where we want to go. If we keep taking the same actions over and over and over, day in and day out, how can we expect to go where we want in life? How can we expect for things to change? Because if we don't change anything, then nothing's going to change. And that's really the crux of it. If you can't tailor your actions to where you want to go in life, then you're not going to be able to get there. And that's just the reality of the situation. And so you got to take back conscious control of your life. You got to start being aware of the actions. You got to start asking yourself before let's say you have an idea to go do something. Think about it. How is this going to affect me? Is this going to set me up to where I want to go in life? If I keep avoiding working out and I want to be healthy and I want to have, muscles, or I want to lose this weight, is that going to be helpful? Or it's kind of the opposite. You can also look in the opposite way. If I keep working out every single day, am I going to have the energy to do other things? Because, it is a balancing act. You can't just force yourself into something like, even like working out, and burn out all your energy and put yourself in burnout if you need to be spending some of that time doing other things. And I think a lot of people kind of get stuck in the, oh, exercise is only good for me, or this thing is only good for me, and it can't be bad if I do too much of it, right? But really, long term, that can still be affecting you. So if you're not thinking about this action, like if I work out every single day for so many hours, I'm not giving my muscles time to recharge. I'm not giving myself time to recharge, time to build myself back out. If I'm burning myself out doing all these 100 things, then I will experience burnout. So I'm not telling you to burn yourself out. I'm just telling yourself not to allow yourself to sit there in your same situation, taking actions that aren't going to take you towards the life you want to do. You got to start incorporating these things into your life step by step and build yourself up. You might not have the energy to be able to do everything you want to do right away. But what you can do is start to address that. So if you've been feeling low energy, well, maybe you need to start getting more sleep. Maybe you need to go to bed at a better time. And many people, go to bed way after 10 p.m. or even 10:30 p.m. And that's really the latest we should be up, because our circadian rhythm, which is a 24-hour cycle, we're meant to go to bed with the sun and wake up with the sun. That's kind of the way our body works. When the sun is out, we take in the sunlight in through our eyes, and we get the serotonin and we get awake. And when the lights start to go down, we get that melatonin and we get sleepy. But many people, I think, have been disillusioned and are staying up way past their bedtime. And I think part of it is the screens, the screens that are, um, and I think part of it is the screens, the screen light that is affecting our light and intake from our eyes, and it's confusing our bodies and saying, wait, it's light out, no, it's dark out, no, it's light out, because it doesn't know the difference between sometimes artificial and non-artificial light. And so it can keep us awake at night. But beyond that, if you're trying to get more sleep, more energy in your system, you got to cut out the coffee, the caffeine, because so many people are still relying on it every day. How many people have heard, oh, I need the coffee to stay awake, I need this energy drink to stay awake, I need this to function? But what you're doing is relying on that thing for that external source. You're relying on it. And that's the short term thinking. Oh, I need this right now to function. I need this quick energy, right? But you're not thinking long term. Long term, that caffeine is going to make you dependent on it. That's going to make you have less sleep at night, because it's been proven that it stays in your system for much longer than people think, and it can actually affect your sleeping. Um, you know, all these different things you got to be aware of. You got to be keeping an eye on what you're doing. What are you eating? Are you giving your body the proper nutrition, the proper energy it needs, so that you can go about and do these different actions? You can work out. You can start working on your business. You can, start looking for a different job. Maybe even you can start making a garden in your backyard. You can do all these different things if you have the energy for it. But you don't want to burn yourself out, because that would be another bad thing. So think long term about each and every action. Even if it's considered a relatively good action, you got to think about it long term. How is this going to set me up? Is this going to set me up for failure or success? Is this going to end up leaving me burnt out? Or is it going to let me, you know, feeling broken and diseased and unhappy? You know, is this going to bring me towards the life I want or away from the life I want? So I think we got to also talk about, why does this short-term thinking appeal to us? Well, I think part of it is that, that part of our mind, the subconscious mind, um, it's kind of been programmed to enjoy the short-term thinking from society and from everything around us. So, look at our medical system. We now have pills, and, take this pill and you'll become healthy. Take this pill and you'll be able to help this disease or this thing. Take this pill and you can lose weight, right? But really, those things aren't actually giving you what you want. They're just cover up, they're band aids. And it's kind of like the short term thinking, um, instant gratification. We want that instant gratification. We want to be able to eat unhealthy food, but still be able to lose weight, right? But that's not how it works. You got to think long term. Your actions are leading you towards what you want. And there's no magic pill, there's no nothing that's going to be able to get you to where the life you want. If you keep taking actions, they're going to lead you in the opposite direction, lead you towards the life you don't want. And look at all the television shows and all of that. There's so much programming towards short-term satisfaction. There's so much programming towards life being hard, and you just need to have a vice to be able to survive it. You got to be able to have that short-term satisfaction. You got to be able to get that, drink that alcohol to relieve the stress. You got to be able to smoke the marijuana. You got to be able to go party all night. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to fit in. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to relax. Otherwise, you're not going to have the energy you need. But in all reality, those things are setting you up for the opposite. Those things are setting you up to be disempowered, to be broken, to be, um, unhappy. You can still have a good time. You can still go out and hang out with friends. You don't have to stay up until all hours of the night. You don't have to abuse yourself with the, countless drinks of alcohol. You don't have to get yourself so high that you can't function. And, I'm talking about this from experience because I was in the same situation. I would always be searching for my next dopamine fix, for my next thing to distract myself from the life I didn't like, from the job that I was stuck in that I wanted to get out of so desperately. I would tell myself, "Oh, this is just make me feel better. I need this. I need to relax. I need to have fun. I need to be able to um, enjoy my life." Really, is what it was, and this will help me distract it. This will help me feel better. This will help me do these things. But what I found out was that I kept doing the same actions and I was still in the same spot. And I would complain and think about, well, how come my life's not getting any better? How come, I'm not going to where I want in life? How come these people have all these things in life and I just have this? Right? But it's because I wasn't taking the actions towards the life I want. I was just binge watching Netflix. I was just partying all day. I was playing video games all the time and spending all my free time doing things that's not going to bring me towards the life I want. And that's really one of the biggest traps that we have in our society right now is that it's so easy to be lazy, so easy to not move forward in life because there's so many external sources. Back in the day, we didn't have all this technology to be able to distract ourselves with. We had to go out there and get that sense of adventure from other places. But now we can get that, sense of accomplishment, that sense of adventure um, in a short, easy, instant gratifying way from video games or from the TV show. We can watch the superheroes on the TV show save the world, and we can get the instant gratification seeing them doing that. Or we can play the video game, and we can save the world that way. Or we can go out there and be very successful in that video game without even having to put ourselves on the line because it's a video game, right? But we're still getting that instant gratification from that. But the problem with that is it doesn't actually help you in the real world. It doesn't help you move forward in the real world. And it's not, I'm not saying to just to never play video games again or to never do any of those things again. But you got to be careful because if you're only getting your gratification from that, if you're only getting your success in that way, then you're not going to be getting it in your life. And if you're only be taking those actions every day after work and you're not moving forward, if you're not learning, if you're not, progressing forward, if you're not trying to be your best self every day, if you're not taking a look at your actions, then you're going to end up in a life you don't want. And that's what this post is about. This is what this episode is about. This episode is about addressing those self-sabotaging behaviors, addressing that short-term thinking, that need for instant gratification, the need to get that dopamine fix every single day. And that kind of brings me to my next point, talking about porn. So many people are looking for that instant gratification. They don't want to go out there and try to create a good relationship and be able to get their pleasure release done that way through actually connecting with someone. Now we can just go to the to the computer or to our phones, go to the website and get that gratification right there. But the thing is, it doesn't lead you to where you want in life, and it leaves you disempowered because it starts to give you a false sense of reality that you can just sit there and have or get what you need coming to you without doing any work. It's not the way life works. You got to have the thought behind it, and you got to put in the work to be able to get to where you want in life. You got to be able to understand What do you want in life? How can I get there? And then take those actions to get there. That's really what it is. And that's really how you can start making steps forward in life. And when you are doing this, please realize that part of your mind, the subconscious, the part that is the short term thinking part of your mind, it will kind of give you some resistance. It is known, and it's not necessarily that it's broken, right? It's this part of your mind loves you. This part of your mind wants to protect you. It's kind of like a big brother that just kind of doesn't know exactly what you want in life, but it understands that it wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you from embarrassing yourself. It wants to keep you from putting yourself out there too hard because you might get hurt, right? So when you start to make moves forward, when you start to work on your business, and it gets kind of scary because you're getting close to being successful or to actually sharing your message or your story with someone else, it says, no, we shouldn't do that. We should go back. We should start drinking again. We should start watching this TV show. What about that Marvel's movie that just came out? What about that? What about this video game that you haven't finished, right? And it pulls you back in. And this part of your mind is actually active a lot more than people think it is. And often we're acting off of its interests compared to our conscious interests. The majority of the time, about 90 to 95% of the time, we're acting from the subconscious part of the mind. We're not acting from the conscious part of the mind. And in some cases, it's not a bad thing to be acting from the subconscious part of the mind. But the problem is the subconscious part of the mind for a lot of us is aligned with the opposite values of what we actually want consciously in our life. So we may want to be healthy. We may want to be, successful. We may want to have our own business or get away from this job that we so much desperately dislike. But the subconscious mind's goals is to keep us safe, is to play small, is to get the instant gratification so that we can relax, so we can feel good, right? And to feel safe and to be like everyone else in society, because that's really what it does. It helps us fit in. And society right now is built off that short-term gratification. Eat this to be skinny, take this shot to be healthy, do this thing to do whatever, right? Take these pills and you'll be able to be fast. Drink this coffee and you'll be able to have energy. Drink this energy drink and you'll have energy, right? It's built around it. Jerk off to this porno and you'll get that instant gratification. It's a trap. Essentially, it is a trap. That short-term thinking lifestyle, that short-term thinking pleasure lifestyle is a trap. I'm not saying not to do fun things and to go out and experience life, right? I'm saying think about what you're doing every day and ask yourself, will this hold me back from the life I want? Will this actually not bring me towards the life I want? If I keep doing this thing over and over and over every single day, is it going to prevent me from going towards the life I want? Is it going to bring me farther away from the thing I like, from what I want in life? If I keep eating the McDonald's and the Chick-fil-A and the Taco Bell every single day, am I going to become healthy? Am I going to be able to move past this weight or lose this weight that I've been wanting to lose? Am I going to have the energy to be able to do the things I want in life? Am I going to feel burnt out? Or even on the opposite side, like I was talking about before with exercise, if I keep exercising over and over and over and don't leave myself any energy, if I keep going about doing all these things all the time, and I burn myself out that way, how's that going to leave you? You got to think long term. It's all fine and dandy to be successful and to be able to do a lot of things in your life. But if you're not thinking long term about how this is going to leave you, is this going to leave you broken? Is this going to leave you diminished? Is this going to leave you in a worse place than you were before? And that's really what the essence of this podcast is. And I think I've made my point with it, is that, short-term thinking, that leads to the self-sabotage, because you're not thinking about how it's actually going to affect you in your life. You're not thinking about how it's going to bring you towards the life that you want. And so it might just keep you exactly where you are. And oftentimes it's going to bring you farther away from where you are. On the rare occurrence, sometimes it may, help you get to the life you want. And then long-term thinking. If you're thinking long-term, you can start making plans. You can start making strategies. You can start thinking about what you want in life. You can start thinking, okay, I want to, have a family. I want to be able to be successful. I want to be able to run my own business. I want to be able to eat healthy. Then you can start making plans. You can start taking actions to bring you towards that. And you can start tailoring your lifestyle towards that life that you want to be living. And that's essentially the way that, I was able to start doing these things. I was able to start changing my daily actions and my thoughts and tailoring those towards the life that I want. And I think that's so, so important that people start to think about. Think about the long term effects. Use your conscious mind. Remember, it's not a bad thing to be self conscious, to be conscious of yourself, to be aware of yourself. That's exactly what you need to do if you want to overcome self sabotage. So, the things I talked about on this podcast today, and I know it was a bit shorter, is short term thinking versus long term thinking. I explained how, with the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, those differ, and how we're often acting from the subconscious mind instead of the conscious mind. And really, if we want to be able to, make those changes, we got to align the two. We got to make it so the subconscious and the conscious are working together. And then you got to start using your conscious mind to think about your actions as you're doing them, analyze them, and ask yourself if you're going to be going towards the life you want or away from the life you want. And then take action on them, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you did like it, please share it. Please subscribe. Sorry, excuse me. Please like the video. All that really helps me get the message out there and really does help me. So please do it. And, please keep in contact if you want to reach out to me, if you have questions about this, if you want to hear about something specific on this podcast, then reach out to me. I'm on Facebook and I'll have my links down below. And I'll be glad to speak with you and to maybe tailor a whole podcast video or a video to you or answer your questions, even just like in an email or something like that. And if you are looking for help, if you know what you want to do, if you're thinking long term and you keep taking those actions that are bringing you back, if the subconscious is fighting you like that big brother that I was talking about, that won't let you go towards the life that you want because he's trying to keep you safe, know there's a way forward. There is a way forward. I know you may be feeling stuck. You may be feeling like there's something wrong with you because you keep telling yourself you want to do something, but you keep doing the opposite. But there is a way forward. And I can teach you all about the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and how to use your subconscious mind to be able to move forward in life. I can help you align it with your goals that you want to be able to do. So that way both your minds are working together to be able to create the life that you want. And I can teach you how to start thinking long term. I can help you formulate your beliefs and your conscious mind to be able to help you analyze your world. And we together, we can make that a reality. So if that does sound interesting, click the link below to schedule your free strategy call with me. Together we can talk about, what it takes to overcome self-sabotage and what you're experiencing in your life, what problems you're having in your life. I'd love to hear about it and just maybe even see if we're a good fit, because I don't always work with everyone. I like to make sure I can actually help them first. So please click the link below if you are looking for help. If you're struggling, you don't have to struggle through life. You don't have to feel like you're beating your head against the wall. It's not normal to do so, despite what society makes it seem like it is. And there's a way forward. There's a way to get past that if you ask for help. And there's possibly a way to do it without help. I might have been where I might have gotten to where I am today, maybe 10 years down the line, maybe longer, who knows. But it's possible I could have gotten here, but asking for help expedited my progress. And that was another example of short-term thinking for long-term thinking. Short-term thinking is, I don't want to ask for someone for help. I don't want to pay them that money. I don't want to do these things because, I want to save this money for something else. I want to save my time. I don't want to be embarrassed for asking for help. But long-term thinking, that the money you spend on yourself now, the time you spend on yourself now, asking for help and putting yourself out there now will allow yourself to get to the life you want faster, will allow you to get to where you need to in life as quickly as possible, as easily as possible. And that's really what asking for help is. And that's really what, I like to try to provide for people is to give them that information so that they can make that change in their life, so they can make that, um, not only the change in their life, but make it a new lifestyle. Create that new lifestyle, like I was talking about, where you're acting from a place of consciousness, where you're acting from a place of how will this help me? How will this bring me towards the life I want? Anyways, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Once again, my name is Tanner Dagenais, and I am the host of Self-Sabotage Solutions. Tune in this Sunday for my podcast where I interview another person talking about how they encounter self-sabotage in their life and how they were able to overcome it. And I love sharing these stories with people because they're so powerful, and they allow us all to realize that we're all able to overcome self-sabotage, no matter who we are, where we're from, or what our life has looked like. So anyways, thanks again for listening, and I hope you have a great day.